Today, we're diving into a theme that touches every life, often silently, almost invisibly: desire, and more specifically, the profound power that desire and sexuality hold within our unconscious mind. Have you ever stopped to wonder how much your hidden desires are shaping your choices, your relationships, even the way you see yourself and the people around you? Is what we call love, passion, attraction merely a biological instinct? Or is there something far deeper unfolding inside the mind, just beneath the surface? Sexual energy is not just a force of biology. It's a language of the soul, a whisper from the unconscious seeking expression. Carl Jung taught that what we repress does not disappear. It festers in the dark corners of the mind, shaping our desires, fears, and relationships in ways we often fail to notice. Desire, in its raw form, is not simply a physical urge. It is a profound movement of the soul, a push toward life, connection, and transformation. When you believe that sex is only about the body, you miss its deeper message. Jung knew sexuality is a symbol, a portal, a mirror for everything you refuse to see within yourself. What you resist persists. The parts of your sexuality you deny or judge will continue to influence you from the shadows. We live in a world that tries to simplify sex, to make it either taboo or entertainment. But Jung revealed it is neither. It is sacred energy, asking to be integrated. Your mind may pretend to be rational, logical, above it all, but the unconscious knows the truth. What you truly crave, fear, and hide behind many of our life choices, relationship patterns, and emotional struggles lies the influence of unacknowledged sexual energy. It's not the sexual act itself that matters most. It's the meaning you unconsciously attach to it. Desire speaks the language of myth, symbol, and archetype. When you are drawn to someone, it's rarely just about who they are. Often, you are drawn to a part of yourself reflected in them, a piece of your soul you have forgotten. Jung described the anima and animus, the inner woman within every man, the inner man within every woman. These forces shape how we love, how we seek, how we ache. If you don't recognize these inner images, you project them outward. You see your dreams, your wounds, your unmet needs in the face of another. Many people fall in love not with the person standing before them, but with the parts of themselves they refuse to embrace. Sexual attraction then becomes a spiritual compass. It points you not just toward another, but toward the uncharted regions of your own soul. To ignore or repress your sexual nature is not strength. It is fear disguised as morality. It is control that leads to fragmentation, not wholeness. True mastery of desire is not about suppression. It is about recognition. The unconscious is never silent. It speaks in dreams, in sudden emotions, in a magnetic pull you cannot explain toward people or experiences. The libido, as Jung saw it, is a river of life force. It can flood destructively when dammed, or it can nourish your growth when channeled wisely. Most people live as prisoners of unconscious desire, mistaking compulsions for choices, mistaking projections for reality. What you pretend not to see, your hunger for connection, your fear of vulnerability, your craving for acceptance, does not vanish. It shapes you anyway. Jung invites you to a radical honesty, to look at your sexuality not with shame, but with the curiosity of a soul seeking to know itself. The unconscious is never silent. It speaks in dreams, in sudden emotions, in a magnetic pull you cannot explain toward people or experiences. Sexual energy misunderstood becomes chaos. Suppressed, it turns into obsession, addiction, emotional numbness, or hollow relationships. But embraced consciously, it becomes a foundation for creativity, deep connection, and authentic transformation. Jung taught that the libido is not bound by the limits of the physical. It seeks expression through art, discovery, love, and the endless unfolding of the self. You cannot truly heal until you stop pretending that parts of you are shameful or wrong. Healing begins when you face your hidden hunger without fear. Desire is not the enemy. It is a teacher. Every longing points you towards something essential you have forgotten. The real danger is not in feeling too much, but in living cut off from your own depth, mistaking numbness for peace. What you run from owns you. What you face with open eyes, you reclaim. The collective unconscious holds archetypes around sexuality: the lover, the the seductress, the sacred union. These patterns live inside you, shaping your fantasies and fears. Every myth of temptation, every story of forbidden love, echoes the ancient tension between instinct and consciousness. When you deny your sexuality, you exile parts of your soul. You divide yourself against yourself, creating inner war. Integration means letting those parts return without judgment, without repression, but with awareness and maturity. Jung saw the journey toward wholeness as a dance of opposites, masculine and feminine, light and dark, instinct and spirit. Sexuality at its root is not about conquest. It's about communion. First with yourself, then with another. The fire within you can destroy or illuminate. Consciousness is what determines the outcome. The moment you stop blaming the world for your desires, you start reclaiming your power. Nothing you feel is random. Every attraction, every fantasy, every fear carries a message from deeper layers of your being. Sex is not just an act. It's a mirror. It reflects back who you are, what you seek, and what you have yet to embrace. Many relationships fall apart because they are built on unconscious projections, not true seeing. Jung's invitation is simple yet radical. Dare to see what you pretend not to see. Only then will you truly know yourself. The shadows you fear to touch often hide the treasures your soul has been seeking. Sexual desire is one of the rawest mirrors of your unconscious life. It reveals your unmet needs, your hidden fears, your forgotten dreams. When you project affection onto another, you are often trying to retrieve a part of yourself you feel disconnected from. Healing does not mean eliminating desire. It means seeing desire clearly, without shame, without fantasy, without denial. You were not born ashamed of your instincts. Shame is something you were taught. The path back to wholeness asks you to unlearn the lies you believed about your body, your feelings, and your right to exist fully. True maturity is not found in the repression of passion, but in the conscious channeling of it toward life-affirming purposes. The unconscious does not obey your will. It obeys your honesty. When you refuse to listen, it speaks louder through anxiety, depression, compulsive patterns. The energy you bury alive will haunt you until it is recognized and given a rightful place within your being. Every forbidden desire carries a story, a wound, a lesson about your journey toward wholeness. Jung taught that your task is not to eliminate instincts, but to integrate them, to make the unconscious conscious. Sexuality, in its most sacred form, is the urge not just to unite with another, but to unite with lost parts of yourself. To love wisely, you must first learn to hold your own fire without fear. Most of the suffering in relationships stems from demanding from others what you have not yet given to yourself. Projection turns lovers into illusions. Awareness turns illusions into opportunities for deep healing. When you idolize someone, you are often worshiping an aspect of yourself you have exiled. Real intimacy begins when you no longer need the other to complete you, only to meet you fully present. Desire is sacred when it is conscious. It becomes destructive only when it is blind. To transform your life, you must be willing to see where your own desires have ruled you from the shadows. When you stop fighting your inner impulses and start understanding them, you unlock a new dimension of freedom. Desire that is denied mutates into addiction. Desire that is honored transforms into vitality. Many chase pleasure hoping it will silence the ache within, but true healing comes from facing, not fleeing. Jung reminded us, the soul's greatest battles are often invisible, fought within the quiet corners of our own hearts. Sexual energy, when awakened consciously, fuels not just attraction but creativity, vision, and purpose. The more you reject your own instincts, the more distorted they become in your life story. The unconscious craves integration, not perfection. It longs for you to make peace with your wildness. There is no true spirituality without acknowledging the raw, primal energies within you. To be whole is to embrace both your angel and your animal, your wisdom and your instinct. Suppressing your sexuality does not make you pure. It makes you divided. Wholeness demands that you stop splitting yourself between sacred and profane, light and dark. The real power lies not in denying desire, but in refining it, lifting it into conscious service of your highest self. When you understand your sexual nature, you begin to understand your true hunger for connection, creation, and transcendence. Sex, at its deepest, is not about possession. It's about recognition. A meeting of souls through the body. The wound is where the light enters you, Jung said. And often, that wound is guarded by layers of shame around desire. You do not heal by rejecting your nature. You heal by remembering that you are already enough, already whole. Your body is not your enemy. Your instincts are not sins. They are ancient intelligences waiting to be heard. When you honor your sexuality without worshiping it, you restore balance to your inner world. Love loses its magic when it becomes a desperate search for completion. It regains its sacredness when it becomes a dance between two whole beings. The real alchemy happens not when you repress your fire, but when you let it illuminate the parts of you that you thought were unworthy of love. What you have feared about yourself is not your enemy. It is your teacher, patiently waiting for you to listen. Desire is not a curse to be suppressed. It is a compass guiding you toward wholeness. The more you hide from your own longings, the louder they will echo through the hidden corridors of your life. When you embrace your full humanity, body, mind, soul, you discover a depth of aliveness you never knew was possible. Jung taught that every archetype you carry, the lover, the creator, the warrior, is fueled by the energy of desire. Your passions, when denied, become prisons. When honored, they become wings. True strength is not built by numbing your hunger, but by learning to hold it with dignity and consciousness. Every temptation carries a secret message, an invitation to understand what still aches within you. The parts of yourself you exile out of fear become the very parts that sabotage your freedom. When you reclaim what you abandoned, you reclaim your power. You were not meant to be a perfect statue of control. You were meant to be a living, breathing embodiment of wisdom and wildness. Sexuality is not a problem to solve. It is a mystery to honor. The more you try to control desire through repression, the more control it has over you. Freedom is born not from denying yourself, but from knowing yourself. Fully, fiercely, tenderly. The path of individuation requires you to integrate everything you've been taught to fear, including your own passion, love, creativity, purpose. They are born from the same wellspring that carries your desire for life itself. Your sexuality, when embraced consciously, becomes a sacred bridge between your humanity and your divinity. The journey is not about purging your instincts. It is about purifying your awareness. Carl Jung understood the soul's deepest longing is not for perfection, but for wholeness, for the union of all that you are. And when you finally stop pretending, when you finally stop running, you find what you were searching for all along. Yourself, entire, unbroken, free. Thank you for being part of this journey. If this message touched something inside you, don't keep it to yourself. Share it with someone who needs to hear it today. Leave a comment, like the video, and help us spread this movement of deep healing and conscious awakening. Together, we can create a world where more souls walk whole, awake, and free.